Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is early on a Tuesday, at least out here on the West Coast. And I want to talk a little bit more about Frank Howard's passing yesterday, the day of Game 3 of the World Series. Another blatant ritual. And sadly, this won't get the attention that Matthew Perry's death got, but it'll have all the same parallels that we just talked about with Matthew Perry's passing. Talk about that. We're going to talk about Magic Johnson being named a billionaire, who recently lost his father. Can't forget when Kobe died 201 days from Magic's birthday. But did you notice this was the big viral news on a Monday where the Lakers were playing the Orlando Magic? Kind of like how LeBron won that finals in Orlando on Father-Daughter Day right after Kobe and his daughter died that same season while traveling from Catholic Mass. And then I want to talk about this Matthew Perry headline as well. God, you can do whatever you want to me. Just please make me famous. How Matthew Perry landed friends. So we'll get to that as well. Go back to that Marilyn Manson song he put out. When you say God, I say Satan. We're going to get to what that song was really about. And let's start right here, though, with Frank Howard's passing, the day of Game 3 of the World Series, with Max Scherzer starting for the Rangers. Of course, Max Scherzer won a World Series with the Nationals, might very well win one with the Rangers this year. And Frank Howard, who died, he played for the Washington, D.C. baseball team. They used to be called the Senators. He played for the Texas Rangers. And he also played for a number of other teams that Max Scherzer has played for, from New York to LA to Detroit. Played in a lot of the same cities, I should say, as Frank Howard. But look at how perfect this ritual is. We're going to talk about the significance of him dying 83 days after his birthday on 83 date numerology, as the Diamondbacks picked up their 83rd total loss of the season. Of course, 83 is the murder number. The song Murder by Numbers, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3, came out in 83. We talked about how Matthew Perry just did his last Instagram post days before his death in his jacuzzi, where he was found dead under a moon. And that was his 83rd Instagram post all time, which goes with something we revealed many years ago through a news story about how these social media celebrities, how they really don't even run their own social media pages. They have binders and books printed out months in advance for what they're going to post on these days, living out their scripted lives. Again, they've told you guys these things in the news if you've been paying attention over the years. That's how a Matthew Perry 83rd post can be synced up with his death so perfectly. Because it's being planned, not necessarily by Matthew Perry, but by the people in the industry who made him famous and rich. The people who control what's on the screens, the mind control devices. And again, that's the point of doing this work, to get people to wake up. Like I've been saying for the last decade, people need to stop going to these World Series, these Super Bowls where human ritual sacrifice is clearly a part of it. And here, let's again make the point with Frank Howard, because it just couldn't be any more obvious. Again, the article states the teams that Frank Howard played from: Washington to Texas, the Max Scherzer teams. Max Scherzer got the start yesterday for the Rangers, the day of his death, the man with the most parallels. And here, let's look at this. Frank Howard, born August 8th, dead October 30th, 83 days after his birthday. He played for the Dodgers. Max Scherzer was on the Dodgers briefly. He played for Washington. Of course, Max Scherzer, he won the World Series with Washington. By the way, before that postseason came around, we had Washington beating the Astros in Game 7 as they did. Huge parlay value. There was a gentleman who turned a really small bill into thousands of dollars. And again, it's not a fluke thing. We do it a lot in this community. This is from yesterday. Yesterday, we knew we were going to smoke the MLB in the World Series. And here's a gentleman who literally turned a dime yesterday into $1,000. That's what you can do when you hit pretty much every game in the NBA. But anyhow, Frank Howard, just to go over the parallels again: Dodgers, Nationals, Texas, Detroit. So these are the teams he played for. Compare that with Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer began his career with the Diamondbacks, who he's facing in the World Series right now. Max Scherzer's 39 years old, like how Arizona equals 39 in Gematria. But look at Max Scherzer's teams. Started with Arizona back in 2008. Played for Detroit, just like Frank Howard. Played for Washington like Frank Howard. Played for the Dodgers like Frank Howard. And now on Texas like Frank Howard. And actually, maybe I was tripping with Frank Howard. Maybe he didn't have any time in New York. I take it back. So Scherzer did spend some time in New York. Howard did not. So other than that, a lot of team overlap. And again, the ritual is just so obvious. It's just so obvious. It always is. Year after year, these rituals. I mean, they just smack you in the face with it. But look how perfect it is. Also, let's pull up the Gematria calculator here. Frank Howard. I want you to see that his name in the most simple cipher is 119. Here we are in the 119th World Series when he dies. We always talk about the powerful relationship with 3 and 56. It's why in Super Bowl 56, we knew it was going to be a 3-point game, which it was. We had Odell Beckham, number 3, born on the day, leaving 56 days left in the year to score the first touchdown of the game at 10-1 odds. And that's why we had Bengals to cover the spread as well, which they did. But realize Frank Howard's dead during Game 3. When you spell out 3 as a word, it equals 56. And the powerful pairing is right here. Abrahamic equals 56. There's 3 Abrahamic religions. Light equals 56. In the 3rd verse of the Bible, God makes light. So 3 Abrahamic, light, all 56. This is where this relevance comes from. But if you pay attention, you'll see how these numbers always come together. So in Game 3, the Rangers win with 3 points. They win 3-1, and Frank Howard's dead, right? But think about how perfect that is. He's dead in the 119th World Series, dead during Game 3. And for the record, Major League Baseball is 63, and if you run it in reverse, Major League is also 63. This is the Rangers' 63rd season this year. 63rd MLB season. Big number in the MLB, as we've talked about so many times. You see how when you run it in reverse, Major League Baseball is also 117. So is Arizona Diamondbacks. Part of the reason we like the Rangers a lot to win yesterday, this number's been huge all year, 117. In the beginning of the year, we thought after Game 1, we put in a future for the Rangers in the AL to make the World Series with huge odds. They were about 50-1 at the beginning of the year. And versus the Phillies. And obviously they didn't end up playing the Phillies. The Phillies died in the NLCS. But again, the reason we thought at the beginning of the year that it could be Phillies and Rangers is because we always talk about how they sync up the Rangers and the Astros with the Bush family, just like how George W. Bush threw out the first pitch at Game 1. But Game 1 of the year between the Phillies and the Rangers was exactly 267 days after Bush's birthday. 267's the Philadelphia area code. And the score of that game was 11-7. When the Diamondbacks won Game 2 of this World Series, their manager became 11-7 in the postseason. This number's been going on all year. The All-Star game this year was on 11-7, the 11th day of July. Guerrero Jr., who won the Home Run Derby, he came into that Home Run Derby with 117 Major League Baseball career home runs. Won the Home Run Derby in the Seattle Stadium, and it became the first father and son in MLB history to win the Home Run Derby. His father, Vlad Guerrero Sr., had won it years ago. But think about them doing that in Seattle, where the Griffeys used to play, the last father-son tandem in sports. It's all ritualism. And again, the point I'm trying to make is you learn these numbers on the screen, you see where they play ritualistically. Max Scherzer, or excuse me, not Max Scherzer, Roy Halladay, that's who I meant to say, the 2-time Cy Young winner. Remember when he died the other year suspiciously off the coast of Holiday, Florida? It was on the date November 7th, 11-7. So, again, Gematria is the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with numerology. You want to know it both ways. It's like baseball, 54 outs in a game, 162 games in a season. Baseball, 18 half innings in a baseball game. Game 2 had 18 date numerology, and Marte of the Diamondbacks set the postseason hit streak record for 18 straight games on the 18 date numerology. The day before that had 17 date numerology. The Rangers got their 17th all-time home win versus the D-backs in that game. And that does mean they could have got their 18th home win versus the D-backs on the 18 date numerology, but instead the 18 ritual was for Marte in that game. And that's why some games can be tougher to call than others. Yesterday looked pretty heavy for the Rangers, who got it done, and a sacrifice came with it. But okay, coming back to Frank Howard, again, we laid down why he dies the day of Max Scherzer's start, why he dies in Game 3, why he dies during the 119th World Series, and then again, from his August 8th birthday to his October 30th death, 83 days later, Diamondbacks picked up their 83rd loss on the season in the game, and the date numerology was 83. And, and it's universal, too. It goes across all the rig sports leagues. You see how Memphis is 83 and Memphis Grizzlies is 83? Jason Kidd yesterday stayed on 83 losses with Dallas, beating Memphis yesterday. So, again, the knowledge is universal. Again, no number has just one meaning. It's not like 83 only means murder, but because it has the gematria connection to murder, you see how it gets used all the time in this way. But it can also be used in a sports game. It's synced up with the date numerology, as you see here. Diamondbacks getting their 83rd loss of the season on the day. Texas wins with 3 in Game 3 as Frank Howard dies. Ritualism. This is the Rangers' 3rd World Series. They're 0-2 in the World Series all time. This is the Diamondbacks' 2nd World Series. The only World Series they ever appeared in before this year was right after 9/11, where they beat the Yankees on the Scott Brosius era. Which I always think about because I actually had Scott Brosius' brother as my science teacher. They're from Southwest Washington, the Brosiuses. His brother's a big, buff weightlifter science teacher who was always picking up on the younger, cuter teachers. He was a funny guy. But anyway. R.I.P. to Frank Howard. And, shout out to Evan. Evan's a great member of the community. He's been out pounding pavement this year at the Rangers games, at the Dallas Cowboys games, trying to educate about knowledge and gematria. And I know he's going to keep doing it. And I just want to read his write-up. If you guys want to search on YouTube, Not a Sports Journalist, that's the name of his channel. Not a Sports Journalist. But this is what he wrote. He's got some of the things I talked about and even more. He's got some great observations here. On October 30th, 2023, former professional baseball player Frank Howard died at the age of 87. That means he died in his 88th year of life. And there's things to say about 87 and 88. But his birthday was August 8th, 88. And the word poison is 88. The phrase arsenic poisoning is also 88. So it's another number that we see in Death a Good Deal. 87's a number of the controllers who are running the show. The Jesuits. Again, the Jesuits run the show. The Jesuits came out of suppression on August 7th in history, 8-7. If you write out the Catholic Church, who they serve, it equals 87. If you write out Number of the Beast, it's 87. It's another number of theirs. So there is rhyme and reason to him passing at 87. It points to who's doing this. It says he died just before Game 3 of the 119th World Series, which happens to be the 56th all-time matchup between the Rangers and Diamondbacks. If I didn't say so, that wasn't my notes yesterday. But it was the 56th meeting of teams. That means the next game will be the 57th meeting of teams, which has been the magic number with the World Series over and over. And again, just about knowing it forwards and backwards. Remember when the Nationals won the World Series? Nationals also has the 57 in their name. When the Nationals won the World Series over the Astros, they gave the Astros their 57th postseason loss. And you see how World Series is 69 in reverse? Atlanta's also 69. When Atlanta beat the Astros in the World Series, the Astros picked up their all-time 69th postseason loss. And the thing is, if you're new here, we've always talked about 57 in the World Series. It shows up year after year after year after year. And at the start of these playoffs, we looked at the managers and we said, well, look, if this manager wins the World Series this year, he's going to have 57 postseason wins. So, still remains to be seen if that'll happen. But if it does, it'll be just the latest time where the 57 revealed the World Series winner to us long before it happened. And from the knowledge, we had that team in the World Series with pretty much 50-1 odds after Game 1 of the season, after a nice 11-7 win over the Phillies. But, and we've done this almost every year since I've been here with the World Series. 111th World Series, had the Mets in the World Series in spring training. 112th, guaranteed the Cubs would win it in spring training. September, for the 113th World Series, we had why the Astros would beat the Dodgers. 114th World Series, we had why Boston would beat LA in Game 5. In July, we called this out. Game 5, 4-1, 99 days before the conclusion of the NFL season, where Boston would also beat LA while Tom Brady was 41. Exactly how it played out. Again, helped a man parlay, something that turned out to a $350,000 win from hitting those futures dead on the money. Boston, LA that year. 115th World Series. That was when the Nationals beat the Astros in Game 7. It was all synced up with Trump, who took office with the 115th Congress and made Steve Ray, the Nationals announcer, the inauguration ceremony leader. Again, the way they sync up the sports, the politics, because the Jesuits are running the whole show. You ever notice the Nationals hat, that W is a 201, the number of the Jesuits? Look at that Nationals logo, how they cleverly encoded 201. Again, DC's the Jesuit stronghold, the first ever Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201. And if you're new here, just watch a few more videos. I talk about 201 all the time. 116th World Series, we guaranteed the Dodgers would win it in spring training. 117th World Series, we had the Braves after Hank Aaron's death in spring training. 118th World Series, we had to take two teams in the National League in spring training. It was either the Phillies or the Dodgers. Phillies were a way bigger payout. They're the two 118 cities. 119th World Series, would have been nice if it was Rangers and Phillies because we had that after Game 1 of the season. But we said in the AL this year it was either going to be Texas or Astros. We had Astros in spring training, Texas after Game 1. And to be fair, over the course of the year, we added chips on Tampa and Baltimore to cover our spaces. But again, you covered all four of those spaces. Rangers won the pennant. You came out way ahead. And again, our first two thoughts for World Series in the AL. Astros and Rangers, just part of a long history, and that's just the MLB for futures. Some moron the other day was trying to debate, and they muted my stream after I talked about the first two, and then they said the only accomplishments I had in sports were calling two World Series a long time ago. I was like, how bad are these trolls? You just muted my mic and didn't let me finish? And it's just like, people, all my critics are really pathetic people. By the way, trolls, you ever help anybody turn a dime into $1,000? Because we've done it about 1,000 times. So, again, congrats to Mr. Wallace. But here, coming back to Evan's write-up. Again, he shows how Frank Howard's 119-56, dead the day of the 56th meeting of these teams. In Game 3. Oh, his nickname, Hondo. That was a good catch. I didn't have that. Hondo. 56. Isn't it crazy how they do it, you guys? Here, let me pull up StatMuse real quick so you can see. Rangers record versus D-backs all-time, including postseason. 30-26. 56 games played. 56 games played, and Hondo's dead. Frank Howard. During the 119th World Series. And again, the sad thing is, how many times have we showed things just like this over the last decade? Problem is, too many people got too tiny IQs. That's why they can't appreciate it. It's like their mind can't process it. Not enough brain cells to process. He wrote, Hondo also equals 29, like how the Rangers had 29 all-time wins against the D-backs at the time of his death coming into the game, which is true. They had 29 before they picked up the 30th last night. He died 83 days after his birthday on 83 date numerology, which is unfortunately a number associated with many celebrity deaths. Oh, so he wrote this up before the game was over. He said if the D-backs lose tonight, they will have lost their 83rd game of the season, indeed. And the thing was, our write-up for the game, we didn't even realize that he died. You know, we just said we were going off the 83 and how Scherzer could pick up the 100. If I didn't say so, Scherzer, he didn't get credited with the win, but his team still won and he was the starter. Had Scherzer won last night, got credited with it, he would have got his 117th career road win for his entire career. And we've seen so many times where a pitcher has that alignment and their team gets the win, but they don't. It remains to be seen if Scherzer will pitch again in this World Series. But there's a chance he could still pick that up. He said tonight also has 63 date numerology. The lesser date numerology was 63, the Major League Baseball number. Again, the Rangers' 63rd season. He mentions that. Tonight was the Rangers' 67th playoff game ever. And here, just to look that up, Rangers all-time postseason record, 32-35. So that's 67 games played. And how many times have we talked about blood sacrifices in 67? Blood sacrifice 67, human sacrifice 67, killer 67, satanic 67. Remember, we just saw this with the killer story in Maine. That shooting was on the day, leaving 67 days left in the year, and they said the guy's name was Robert Card, which is 67. But it's just another one of these deadly numbers that shows up in the patterns over and over. He goes on, he was born August 8th, and he died in his 88th year of life. That's true. One of his nicknames, the Capital Punisher, equals 88. Yeah, he went. I like how he went deep on this decode. Yeah, good one, Evan. The Capital Punisher, 88. I wonder if there's something about the 101 too, because another guy with with a baseball nickname who just died was the human vacuum cleaner Brooks Robinson, and the Orioles won 101 games this year. The season ended this year, the regular season, on October 1st, 10-1. Orioles had the top record with 101 wins, and then got smoked by the... Wait a minute, who smoked them? Was it the Rangers that smoked them? To go back and look who beat them in the playoffs. I can't think right now. I think it was the Rangers who went through them. He writes out the Washington Monument equals 100. I'm not sure where he was going with that. The Texas Rangers, who used to be the Washington Senators, the team Howard played for, had 100 wins on the season at the time of his death. Oh, okay. Got it. Good one. And then they got the 101st win of the season. Yeah, okay. They got the 101st total win of the season. Isn't it crazy how they do it, you guys? Yeah, Evan went deep on this decode. I like it. So 101st win of the season, nicknamed the Capital Punisher. And again, who threw out the first pitch? George W. Bush, who used to run the Rangers, who's been the man in D.C., the land of the 202 area code, when him and his father were in Skull and Bones. Again, his father's birthday is June 12th, the day leaving 202 days left in the year. His father was number 41. George W. Bush is born 7-6. Remember how the Guidestones came down on his 76th birthday? On 7-6. He points out 101's the 26th prime, just like how Brooks Robinson, Mr. 101 human vacuum cleaner, died on the 26th of September. The Diamondbacks had 26 playoff losses coming into the game, and this is the Diamondbacks' 26th season. He didn't write that down, but this is the D-backs' 26th season. And remember, that's a special number because game is 26, ball game is 26. Again, for a lot of people, the game is God. God's 26. God makes man in the 26th verse in the image of God. His name is Adam, which is also 26. You know, sports legends like Bryant and Jordan are 26. Of course, Kobe died on the 26th day of the year on the 37th anniversary of Bear Bryant, a football god. Again, it's not by accident, you guys. If you've not read my first book, Letters and Numbers, Chapter 1, all about the significance of 26, why there's a 26-letter alphabet, where it goes back to Kabbalah, where it says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. You know, the word spell itself is 26. Spells and spelling, magic, rituals. So yeah, this was a really great decode by Evan right here. He went extra deep with it. Says Howard was still on the Senators when they moved to Texas, and he even played 95 games with the team in their inaugural season there before being traded. Max Scherzer started Game 3 for the Rangers 95 days after his birthday. That's also true. And we know who 95 is so important to. The Jesuit order, who were created to stop the 95 Theses And remember, when the Jesuits came to America, they set up camp in Washington, D.C., which wasn't originally the capital. The capital was moved from Philadelphia to DC. So that's part of the reason Phillies, with this major league ritual right here with Frank Howard, you can see why the Phillies were so important to this year's ritual. The original capital, Max Scherzer, who played for the Nationals, but now also the Rangers, the history with the Rangers in Washington, D.C., and the Bush family. Again, it's all pieces of the puzzle. And again, the good news is because of the knowledge, we weren't blindsided by the Phillies getting knocked out in that Game 7. When the Phillies lost Game 6, I told people if they didn't have any protection on Diamondbacks, you had to take the Diamondbacks for Game 7 because they had a great narrative to win that Game 7, and they did. But it definitely burned us. People would have made a lot more money had that Phillies Rangers future landed from Week 1. That was a massive payout. So we've hit a lot of them, but that one we barely missed on. But hey, Dev Wallace, he's right back. Again, you guys, I told people yesterday, I said, look real good for the Rangers yesterday, and the NBA looked smoking yesterday. There were some real nice dogs on the board yesterday, from the Blazers to the Warriors, and it just torched the NBA yesterday. And like I said, as the NBA season goes on, it gets easier and easier. It's always hard in the beginning of games because you don't have a lot of things to invest in. But always nice to turn 10 cents into $1,000. And that's what I've always taught people to do. Bet low, win big. You can do that with this knowledge. Used to be a lot easier. It's become a lot more challenging because a lot of our old consistent patterns don't hit as well as they used to. But there were some things that you just couldn't deny yesterday, like the Warriors, who were 4-point underdogs. Steve Kerr got his 33rd win versus the Pelicans exactly 33 days after his birthday. You know you don't sleep on the 33 rituals. That's a symbolic number to these secret societies. And again, you look for those gems. You're patient. You wait for those gems. You'll win a lot more than you lose. And again, for people who want the information before the games, I don't know how you guys don't already know. If you know about my channel, I always say join the Patreon. We put out the information at the start of the day, each day for the games. $5 a month for all of the written content. If you want the live streams as well, plus all the written content, plus everything else that goes up, $11 a month. Modest prices for life-changing information. So yeah, again, just the thing that the Lakers are beating the Magic, as it's in the headlines that Magic Johnson's a billionaire. I mean, just the ritualism so obvious. And one more time to remind people, we're always talking about 201 and the Illuminati and the Jesuits. Remember, when Kobe died, there were all kinds of 201s in Kobe's death, but one of them was that he died 201 days from Magic Johnson's birthday that year. Again, Kobe dead January 26th, Magic Johnson's birthday August 14th. Magic Johnson lost his father in a ritual earlier this year, the year he becomes a billionaire. But Magic Johnson's super important to the NBA. You could argue he's the most important Laker ever, because remember, the NBA was kind of a diminishing brand until him and Larry Bird came into the league. They had that college rivalry, which went right into the NBA, and it made the NBA the blockbuster sport that it is. So Magic Johnson, not only is he one of the most important Lakers, he's one of the most important NBA players ever, as is Kobe, whose death was connected to. But again, I mean, the ritualism is just so obvious, you guys. You want to know what's amazing? LeBron came into yesterday's game with 102 home wins with the Lakers. He advanced to 103, but this is how perfect it is. You're seeing Magic's a billionaire, right? And 102 is the reflection of 201. And his father's name, Irvin Johnson Sr., is 201. But anyway, LeBron was on 102 home wins coming in to face the Magic on the day of this news. And, a tough number to go against in a Lakers game is Magic fell to 2-1. Lakers like that 21 a lot. There were some other things there for the Lakers. The biggest concern for the Lakers yesterday, which made it a little bit hairy, was just that there was a chance that LeBron could have stayed on 102. But like we talked about, it looked better for the Lakers. With the LeBron narratives, we liked the first two games dead on. LeBron got his 68th road loss to start the year in Denver on the day, leaving 68 days left in the year. And then he got his 164th win with the Lakers over the Phoenix Suns. You see how Phoenix Suns is 133 in reverse? He also stayed on 133 losses with the Lakers beating the Suns. So that was a real nice ritual. He burned us Sunday. I'm still I'm still surprised he didn't win on Sunday. He could have got his, I think it was 89th road win with the Lakers. I got to go back and double check what it was, but he could have picked up at 89 against the Kings, and of course he's King James, and he started his career, his first ever game playing the Kings, and of course he was drafted by the Cavaliers, who are named after King Charles, and last year he had his mega ritual on the day of King Charles' coronation. But he did not pick up the 89th win versus the Kings, which that's why you win some, you lose some. And I'm still surprised I didn't come through. But yesterday we had the lean on the Lakers. So in LeBron games, we're batting 75% right now for this season. And the thing about LeBron is, again, the league's scripted around him. So a lot of times the number alignments and the rituals for his games can be somewhat obvious. And still, I never teach people to bet the house. I just say, stay modest, stay consistent, bet low, win big, bet low. When you lose low. And again, case in point right here. Here's a man who made $1,000 with a dime. That is the beauty of this knowledge. He did hit a 21-team parlay, so I know he used some of his own knowledge too, because I didn't put out 21 picks yesterday. But we did torch the NBA. World Series was dead on. And coming off a really nice Sunday in the NFL, coming off a nice Thursday. Again, all the haters out there trying to take shots. Again, the haters are losers. They can't even do basic addition. One guy's always making these videos about me. That guy can't even add. He couldn't even count the number of days Liz Truss was in office, poor guy, after she was out of office. So anyone who listens to my trolls and doesn't actually come and experience what we're teaching and laying out, again, you want to work on that IQ. A lot of short bus riders out there. But here, let's transition into this last part. This Matthew Perry headline. God, you can do whatever you want to me. Just please make me famous. How Matthew Perry landed friends. Okay. I got to pull up this Marilyn Manson song. Marilyn Manson. This came out like around 2010. And when it came out, we're like, oh my God, man. Marilyn Manson must be watching the videos, or he's trying to help us out or something. He put out this album called Say 10. You see how it's S-A-Y and then the number 10? So it sounds like Satan, right? Say 10. And let me just read you the chorus to this song. Actually, you know what? Let's go. I haven't read the whole lyrics to this song since 2016. And in fact, I still haven't listened to this song to date. I try not to listen to Marilyn Manson. But I do appreciate that he put out this song. Let's go back and read the lyrics, and then I'll get to the point. Lyrics. Devil's got a cut like a slit in a cattle's calf. $ snakes. You guys think about that, right? Like serpent, snake, the S, the dollar bill, the symbol for $1. It's a lot like a S. Sin. In Christianity, so much focus on sex. Sex for money. That's a big sin. Anyway, this stuff's not an accident. Again, the English language, the oldest script goes back to a Catholic monk. Again, as I've taught about so many times since the 16th century, the language and the calendar have all been synced up by the Jesuits. We're on a calendar named after the Pope. But I kind of see where he's going with all these S's. $ snakes, I'm all in the damned, godless, fearless of the flood, Bible, or the blood of the coming spring. They say Jesus was crucified April 3rd. That's in the spring. Something is shedding its scales, snakes, crying from the heat of the light. And keep in mind, you got the synagogue of Satan parallel going on with Israel, and you got the snake team, the Diamondbacks, back in the World Series, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Sweet lady couldn't believe it. She's like, what? They named themselves after a snake? She's like, why would anybody do that? I was like, well, it's Arizona, it's the desert, but also the other symbolism. Crying from the heat of the light, or the empty shell on the stage, and cash is a poor man's money. And cash is a poor man's money. He emphasized that. People selling their souls for money. You say God, and I say Satan. We're going to get to why that is if you don't already know. You say God, and I say Satan. Say Satan. Open your mouth, love like a gutted church. My goat horns, that's like a Baphomet Satan reference. My goat horns are napalm trees. I guess that's what we did in Vietnam and elsewhere. And a crown of thorns is hard to swallow. I gotta think about the meaning of that. I mean, we know about Jesus and the crown of thorns that comes off the sun in the sky. You should pray now, is it above or is it below? You should pray now, is it above or is it below? Well, we know the Christian understanding is God's up in the sky, up above, and Satan's down below. You say God and I say Satan. The chorus goes on and on. Cocaine and Abel. And I don't baptize whores. I'm a legend, I'm not a fable. Cocaine and Abel, I don't baptize whores. I'm a legend and not a fable. Same thing again. You should pray now, is it above or is it below? Okay, you just keep saying the same thing about God and Satan. So, when this song came out, we were mind blown. We're like, he is trying to wake the world up to what's going on. Look at this, you guys. God. We talked about the 26 earlier. When you run it in reverse, God is 55 and 10. And remember, there's a strong relationship with 55 and 10. 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number. If you don't know the Fibonacci sequence, it's very simple. It goes like this. It goes 1, 1, 2. Try and figure out what I'm doing before I explain it. I'll go slowly. Figure out how the pattern's working. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. 55 is the 10th number in that sequence. The next number is 89, then 144, then 233, then 377. If you can't figure out how it's working, you're just adding the last two numbers to get the next number. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. 55 is the 10th Fibonacci number. And also the other thing about 55 and 10 is if you take the numbers 1 through 10, if you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10, it equals 55. 55 is the 10th triangular number. So you have this powerful relationship with 55 and 10. God has the gematria of 55 and 10 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. When you run the alphabetic order forwards, Satan is 55 and 10. And some people do worship Satan as God. That's their God, Satan. So think about that in light of what's going on in Hollywood. Think about that in light of all these sold-out players. You know, I just seen this one other guy on the, I was like, are those real diamonds? Oh my God, he must have gave his whole salary for that necklace. There was a guy on the field the other night, he had a double like diamond necklace on. And he was doing like his Hail Mary up to God. And I was like, we get in the cabal where they tell you Satan's up there or something, man. I know you aren't about it in this sold out MLB league, playing for scripts for overpaid money, selling out the fans with that big diamond necklace. Please, Jesus didn't tell you to put the $10 million, bling bling on your neck. But this is what it is, you guys. This is what it is. And again, I know you go around this world, you tell people like, hey, you want to sell your soul to Satan? I will make you worth 50 million and famous for the next 20 years. You're going to have so many people, it'd probably blow your mind the percentage of people would be like, all right, whatever. Sell my soul to Satan for 50 million and 20 years of fame. In the case of Matthew Perry, it was 126 million. He's been famous since 94, so what, almost 30 years? He's in the Saturn's return period of time as this news coming. Didn't he die on a Saturday? It was a Saturday, wasn't it? Saturn's day. Saturn connected to the Grim Reaper. Saturn is Satan to the occult. Some people say Saturn is the god of the Old Testament and astrotheology. Because some people argue that the God of the Old Testament's wicked and might be Satan. I mean, he regrets humanity, wipes them out with a flood, all sorts of things. I mean, the Bible's a book of riddles and parables, and it's like you got to do some serious thinking to figure out what it even actually means. And I don't know if there's anyone on this earth breathing right now who can tell you everything that it is exactly meant as it's written in the Bible, especially after all the retranslations. But what I'm telling you is what we figured out, we're not mistaken. You got Bob Dylan, again, Bob Dylan on the record on 60 Minutes from 20 years ago talking to Ed Bradley about how if you want to make it in show business in this world, you got to sell your soul to Satan. And as he puts it, the chief commander of this world. And you know, the nice Satan ritual they just had with the Chiefs is when Patrick Mahomes just picked up his 80th career win on the day, leaving 80 days left in the year. See how Satan's 80 in reverse, just like Baphomet, which is the symbol of the Satanic Church, is 80, and Bavarian Illuminati's 80. So then the Illuminati was founded by a Jesuit, and the Jesuits got the Templar cross in their logo, and the Templars were burned at the stake for worshiping Baphomet. Catholic is who they serve. Catholic's 35. Satan's also 35. Saying how the Catholic Church gave us the language, the calendar, who made all these things fit, where Satan equals God. They did this. You got to give them their props on that, man. I mean, to build this system that they've built, this encoded language and calendar and how all this stuff works out, I mean, it's crazy. But realize, people have been doing this for thousands of years, so it's not like they were working with knowledge of the past and the ancestors. I mean, it didn't just come overnight. This is the evolution of something that's been here for a long time. And kept as exclusive knowledge to the ruling class. Again, the Cabal, Kabbalah. Kabbalah says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. It seems that this cabal has decided that, well, it even says in the Bible, doesn't it? It says Satan is the ruler of the earth. He's the prince of the air. Better watch out for MJ, Air Jordan. Could be next. Could be next. Go watch that Kobe Nike short film with Robert Rodriguez. That was another 201 on Kobe's death. With Bruce Willis, Kanye West, the one dude in there, what's his name? Hispanic dude that's in a lot of movies. If you haven't seen that Nike short film that ends with the exploding helicopter with Kobe, go watch that. It's only like 5 minutes long, and watch the last thing that Kobe says in it. But Robert Rodriguez did that film. 201, 203 like Order of Illuminati, 201, 204 like Jewish mysticism, the 87's in there like the Catholic Church, like how he died on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. Kobe Bryant, 41. Crucify, 41. The Jesuits were suppressed for 41 years. And during that suppression time is when the USA was created, where some of the founders were worried what would happen if the Jesuits came out of suppression because they knew they were right there lurking. So anyway, R.I.P. Frank Howard. For all of you guys who've been asking me why I haven't been doing the Monday show the last 3 weeks, I apologize. I want to be doing it. Again, my sweet lady, she's been getting harassed in her own public life because the trolls found out her actual name and where she is. And I don't even know how they figure out this stuff. I never reveal sweet lady's name. It makes me think they're feds. But anyway, in the nighttime, I've just been spending time with sweet lady because sweet lady's just lately been asking me to quit everything because she's worried that they're going to show up at her workplace. And I say, they're not going to come to your work. And I hope I'm right about that. And I think I am right about that. These people are just cowards and losers, and they like to harass and make threats. But realize, you guys, we've been dealing with this for a long time. It's just now it's crept more into her life. And why am I getting harassed by weirdos and losers out there? Because we're revealing things that aren't supposed to be exposed. We're revealing the knowledge of the cabal, the ruling class. And there's not many people who've ever graced the internet and actually put out real information and been a threat to the cabal and stayed on that path. And again, when you go into the Truth Seeker Hall of Fame, you hear names like Bill Cooper and Jordan Maxwell. And of course, they brought a lot of light to the world that opened eyes, including mine. But, you know, not to sound too arrogant, I don't think anything they ever put out is anywhere near as valuable as what we've achieved. Not even close. I feel like they never revealed the code of the world that exposes how the whole game is rigged. And with regards to Jordan Maxwell said people will never wake up because he doesn't know how to educate. He said the things that the people are into, entertainment and sports, he's like, you know, I can't make the connections there that I do out here with like how the currency system and the water and the language and all the things he educated about. So Jordan Maxwell, I mean, and you know what? While Jordan Maxwell was alive, I reached out to him several times to do interviews, and he never got back to me, but he got back to the likes of people who don't even matter, which makes me scratch my head. I wanted to go on there and have a conversation with Jordan Maxwell before he passed about, hey, what you said about how people are into entertainment and sports and you don't know how to wake them up there? I do. Help me out. So, Jordan Maxwell did also say on the record, though, that he had threats in his life, and that's why he kind of backed off. He acknowledged that. I never backed off, and I won't ever back off. So, anyway, anyway, thank you to everyone who does support the work. Congrats to the winners. Again, you stay consistent with the knowledge. You parlay, you multiply. It's just like week one of the NFL season. A lot of people hit parlays that opening week that were big enough that they could have lost the rest of the season if they just stay consistent, and they'd still make a profit for the year. So whenever my trolls are out making their videos, oh, you would have lost a ton of money. What's that? It's just like, no, you wouldn't have. Not if you play the way I teach you. I teach you to play small, win big, and a lot of people have learned the methods. Again, if you've never bet a dime and won 1,000, that's what you can do with this knowledge. I teach people how to turn $1 into $100. Can't do it every day because sometimes the riddles will burn you. But again, no one's going broke and losing their house over the methods we teach. A lot of people have built their bankroll and built up some extra grocery money and whatnot. Money to get their car back out of the shop, get a new car, get a down payment, change lives. We've changed a lot of lives. And again, I didn't ever get into this work to help people make money. That wasn't the point. The point of this work was always to wake people up to the number games that are being played with society, the ritualism, the rigging, how sick it is. Again, I know that you teach people this knowledge. Some people don't even care enough. When I was at the All-Star game, if you missed it this year in Seattle, again, we were spelling out what was going to go down at the All-Star game. I was right out in front of the Mariners Stadium, and I said, look at that, you guys. And think about that, too. The last time the Diamondbacks were in the World Series, the only other time the World Series that year was in Seattle, 9/11. If you don't know about Seattle and 9/11, you must be new here. I've shown how connected Seattle is to 9/11 so many times. Construction firm from out there, designer of the World Trade Centers, Boeing, like everything on 9/11 that wasn't New York was Seattle. The star player on the Diamondbacks is from Seattle. His last name is Carroll, very Jesuit name, just like Pete Carroll up there in Seattle. Seattle is one of the most Jesuit cities in the nation. If you guys didn't know, Seattle U. Washington State's got 2 of the 27 Jesuit universities. But I was going to say, when I was at the All-Star game in Seattle, one of the last things on that live stream is a Christian guy comes up to me and he's like, what's the point of knowing any of this? And I was explaining it to him, and you could tell he's a little slow in the head. Most religious people are. But at the end, he was, because I explained to him how people are sacrificed for the games and the games are rigged. And his conclusion was, well, even if people are sacrificed, I don't have to worry about that because all you have to do in this world is believe in Jesus. And I believe in Jesus, so even if they're sacrificing people, I'm still going to go in there and enjoy the game. And again, to me, that he just spelled out to me why most Christians are empty people. It's an empty religion. It's not teaching anything that's moral or real. It's just filling people's egos and making them think that they have this little silly belief that if they believe this story written down in a book by man, then they're going to get the eternal afterlife, and that's all they got to do. And some Christians realize that that's not the end of the game. Like, I was raised Christian, I was raised Lutheran, and I understood from a young age that what being a Christian is being a good person, helping out other people, sacrificing. You're hungry, but somebody's more hungry next to you, well, then you give them your food because they're more hungry. They need it even more. That's like what a Christian is. That's how I learned it growing up. Most Christians don't learn it that way. They just learn that if they have this little silly belief and they believe a man in the sky is going to come down someday and save them all, that's all they got to do. It's just, that's a joke. And that's why I just like talking to that person at the end of that day. I was like, see, he represents what's wrong with religion. He's going to go in there. He's like, okay, so what? They're sacrificing people. I believe in Jesus. Like, okay, like, you think Jesus, if he just came down right now, he'd be like, yeah, go in there where they're sacrificing people and enjoy the game. I mean, those small IQs, man, they're everywhere. So I'm sure Jesus would be like, yeah, who cares that they killed Frank Howard, man? Go enjoy the game. Who cares? He was old. Just, you believe in me, it's all that matters. And that's also where you got to start to wonder. Here, let's just go back to the most simple cipher. Let's close out here because this is where it all began. It all began with the old 74. Remember, this nation's birthday, 7-4. We speak English here. This English-speaking nation with the 7-4 birthday. The practice code numbers in the words Gematria 74, like occult, like Masonic, like killing, like 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. It's a Jewish code, Gematria, traditionally. Again, stabbing is 74, like killing, like the Ides of March is to remember the killing of Caesar. But then Jesus is also 74, so is cross, so is Messiah, so is gospel, so is parables, so is Joshua, which is the English translation of Jesus. Um, but funny enough, so is Lucifer, who's also referred to the morning star. He's referred to as the morning star, like Jesus. And Lucifer, he's not all bad, just like all things good and bad, but he's more the deceiver, the nemesis. And sometimes I just wonder if that's why they really changed the name of Jesus, because the true name is Yeshua, right? So they changed it from Yeshua to Jesus, so it would have this 74 thing. And then a lot of these people who are all about Jesus, it seems like they're under really some kind of demonic influence. That's how I've noticed it my whole life. I started noticing when I was 12 years old, and we're starting to grow up, and it's like, man, these other kids in church, they all act so good in church, but they are some bad people outside of here. I know what you're all about. You can pretend to be things in church, but I know who you are. So, a lot of frauds hide behind that religion. And again, nationals, nation's capital, all these sold out politicians swearing in on the Bible, holding their hand up, oath on the Bible, don't mean a word they're saying. It's like every con man's game. So, anyway. Now, another weird thing I got to look into. You guys remember when Randy Johnson, who made his name in Seattle and played for Arizona? Remember when he hit the bird back in 2001 on the pitch? It was like the craziest sports highlight ever. If you've never seen that, if you were a younger person, look up when Randy Johnson, he used to be a big star pitcher in the Major League Baseball, really tall, intimidating pitcher. On a pitch, it was just perfect timing. A bird was sailing through, and the ball nailed the bird in midair, and you see the feathers just poof everywhere, and you could tell Randy Johnson was sad. He went down and got the bird. He felt so bad. But apparently, the story just came out. I didn't hear this all year, but Zach Gallen, who's a pitcher for the Diamondbacks, who Randy Johnson was with at the time, apparently this year he hit a bird in practice and killed a bird in the same type of thing. So it's like, did this even happen? I haven't seen this highlight anywhere, but they're bringing up this parallel, and there's a lot of things going on. The only team in the MLB with a 119 connection in their team name, for the record, is the Mariners. So again, you got this star player on the Diamondbacks from Seattle. You see how Mariners is also 97, just like Poseidon is. Poseidon's 97 and one. And remember, Seattle, the man who designed the World Trade Centers was from Seattle, the city by the sea. Poseidon's the god of the sea. The World Trade Centers that came down after it got hit by the Boeing plane from Seattle, supposedly. But they had the trident. If you didn't know that, the World Trade Centers had the trident on them. That was part of the architecture. The trident, the weapon of Poseidon. And then the mission to kill Osama bin Laden was Operation Neptune Spear, which Neptune Spear, that's Poseidon. A lot more to it. Anyway, getting tangential. But yeah, these are the main things I wanted to hit this morning. And again, shout out to everybody who hits the like and the share. Shout out to 13 Serpents, who's even up early with the tips. Shout out to Open Up, who's up early with the tips. Appreciate both of you. And shout out to congrats to the winners as well with the tips. Who's cover Adam Johnson's death? Man, congrats to the winners. Always has something new for me to cover. I'll look at it real quick here. Open Up says, notes were particularly on fire yesterday. Had a small 6-team NBA parlay, turned $1 into 40. Congrats. Yeah, that's a big win. $1 into 40. $40 buys days of groceries. Not as many days as it used to, as expensive as things are getting, but again, that's how you multiply. Stay consistent with the knowledge. So, nice work, Open Up. Thank you again. There'll be more fire days as the NBA season goes on. But hold up. Adam Johnson. I don't know who that is. I have to look. Adam Johnson. Oh, he was the hockey player who wore 47. I did see this story. I didn't decode it. But I said, oh boy, 47. Hold on. Adam Johnson, NHL. Let's see. Born June 22nd, dead October 28th. He died the same day Matthew Perry did. Again, that's the day leaving... That day's kind of like, you know how a kill date comes up each month with the date numerology? This wasn't the kill date in terms of numerology, but it had a lot of the parallels. October 28th leaves 64 days left in the year, and it's the 28th of the month. Kill has the gematria 64 and 28. We talked about how Matthew Perry's acting career began in 79, which was 44 years before his death. His first acting credits October 1st, 79 with his father. And Matthew Perry, of course, is 64. Died on the day, leaving 64 days left in the year. The part of the detail with Matthew Perry was that he was playing pickleball. A pickleball court's 44 feet. His mother from Friends was Nora Bing. She spoke out after his death. And there was one more 44 that was in Matthew Perry's passing, and I forget what it is right now. But anyway, the point is that the date does have a kill connection, October 28th. And last year, if you go back to last year's work on October 28th, there were a ton of deaths last year on October 28th, and we talked about this. It's Bill Gates' birthday, who's Mr. Eugenics. But all right, this hockey player, it says on October 28th, 2023, Johnson was playing for the Nottingham Panthers. By the way, we like the Carolina Panthers to win this weekend in the NFL. Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud were facing each other, the top two picks in the draft. And if you read the write-up for the game, what made us really like the Panthers this weekend was that the article said that the first time Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud ever played each other was in 8th grade in Los Angeles. And this was NFL Week 8 that they have them playing each other like 8th grade. And we knew that the Panthers' next franchise win was 2-1-3 all-time, 213. Where they played each other in 8th grade was the 2-1-3 LA, just like how LA won the Super Bowl on February 13th, 2-1-3. But we're like, okay, that's got to be the ritual here. And sure enough, it was. First Bryce Young win. First win of the Panthers season over C.J. Stroud. And it just shows you how rigged the game is. It's not like they're rigging every game for every middle school guy, but for the guys who are destined to be in the league, who it's scripted for, top draft picks, certainly is. C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young live in scripted. Just like how their careers were scripted in college, which we were always documenting. They're scripted in the NFL. C.J. Stroud, oh, no, never mind. That was Ritter, actually. Never mind. Here, let's read about this guy's death. October 28, 2023, Johnson was playing for the Nottingham Panthers and was fatally injured in a game against the Sheffield Steelers at Utilita Arena when his neck was cut by the skate of a Steelers player, Matt Petgrave. Grave, huh? Matt also. That's weird, because Matthew Perry died that day during an on-ice collision. So somehow he must have gone low and his skate must have come up and whoosh, man. After the impact, Johnson attempted to skate to the team bench while bleeding out before collapsing on the ice. Players on both sides locked arms to form a protective ring. You know, I haven't seen this highlight, and if this wasn't some kind of ritual and just happened, again, that's where I wonder about the sorcery of the numbers, right? Spelling, what's been put into the language? I mean, when they made English in the calendar, did they, like, sacrifice 1 million children? A nation? What did they do? I mean, so much blood on the Catholic Church's hands. Again, the whole language could be demonic, you guys. There is an organic side to the code, but how much of the organic side that we witness is because there's literally like a spell or sorcery into the language. I want to look at how it is from June 22nd, 2020. Anytime I talk about things like this, somebody will leave a comment like, oh, Zach, you're finally talking about the organic side. Whenever you guys leave comments like that, please don't leave comments if you've never watched my channel before. I've been talking about the organic side of the code since I started back in 2014 with the weird stuff that's happened in my life since I learned about this. And also, both of my books conclude with the organic side of the code. I'm always amazed when people leave comments like that. I'm like, okay, you obviously don't know anything about my work if you're leaving that comment. Or it's just something the trolls do because they know it annoys me. Because I don't know enough about the player of the team, there could be something to these numbers. 128 days. The 4 months and 6 days stands out because sacrifice is 46, and Genesis 46 begins with the sacrifice. But yeah, I need to look at the highlight, how it happened, if it looked like it was somehow. But I'm guessing this might be a freak accident and just the dark side of the knowledge. Yeah, sweet lady. Her foster mom. She was dating a man in the. It was back in 2016, I think, maybe 2017 when it happened. But her foster mom was dating a man, and the man died by falling downstairs. And the date numeral, it was the kill date for the month. And a part of me wondered because I was like, what did he do? He was a professor at a college, like I forget, I think an English teacher or something. I was like, unless he was like into something that somebody was upset about, but there was no witnesses, and they just found him dead at the bottom of a set of concrete stairs. So I remember that from the early days, and I thought, man, that's weird. That is weird. So again, and that could also be the benefit of the knowledge. Like it is a date with kill date numerology. Just be extra little bit careful that day. You know, you're doing something dangerous that day. Be extra little bit careful. They might have put something real nasty in this English language. These psychopaths running this world. So. Yeah, some people think that it's all sorcery, how they make this stuff happen so perfectly. I'm not sure that that's exactly how it all is. It could be part of it, but again, they're singing songs about it. Murder by Numbers. Go read the lyrics to that song. We just read them the other day talking about Matthew Perry. It's about how there's an art form to murder. Again, Murder 83, song out in 83. Lyrics about how, just slipping something into somebody's coffee can avoid an awful lot of mess. Just poison them. And with regards to poison and the Jesuits and them being behind the language, again, he's dead at age 87 in his 88th year of life, shortly after his 88th birthday. Poison's 88. Notice the 74 that went with the killing earlier. 34 is a murder word. So poison has a lot of interesting gematria. But arsenic poisoning, if you read about the history of the Jesuits, they have killed a lot of people with arsenic. This is the number one way that the Jesuits kill. And the reason to kill people with arsenic is because if there's not an autopsy done within like the first very quick period of time after the death, the arsenic dissolves in the body and it looks like somebody died from illness. Looks like they died from like a severe flu. So arsenic is a good way to kill somebody and get away with it. Not that we're giving tips, but again, and you see how arsenic poisoning is also 187, like the society code, or like the homicide code, and the Society of Jesus has that big 187 thing. Holy Roman Empire's got the 187 thing. Brotherhood of Death, that's the alias for Skull and Bones. Brotherhood of Death's got the 187 thing. It's got the 83 thing. Again, he's dead 83 days after his birthday on 83 date numerology as the D-backs pick up their 83rd loss of the year. Again, like we said, run over to basketball yesterday. Here, let's just pull up Jason Kidd real quick. Jason Kidd, now the coach. He used to play for the Mavs. Now he's coaching the Mavs. You see how he has 74 regular season losses with Dallas and 9 in the postseason? 83 total losses. And again, stayed on 83 losses yesterday against Memphis, which is a city known for big-time murders like MLK. Memphis 83, Memphis Grizzlies 83. Talked about some deaths in Memphis. Now they've been synced up with stars in recent years like Ja Morant. But yeah, again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Shout out to Evan at Not a Sports Journalist. Not a sports journalist. Find that YouTube channel, help him grow, motivate him. I think if he saw his channel was rapidly growing, he'd go out and do more pound and pavement. He's been out there at least 2 times this year, baseball and NFL. He's down in the Dallas area if you guys want to link up with him next time he's out there. But yeah, give him a sub for the great decode. Not a sports journalist. Where'd he go? Right here. And he's right here too on Twitter. Evan, or what's his handle? At journalist_not. Evan, I think, just like how I tell Truth Does Not Exist, that he should change his channel name, well, do what you want to do, but I feel like Not a Sports Journalist, well, it's actually not bad. It's not bad. It's not as bad as his, but I just feel like there could be a name that's, like, better. Maybe you could consider a better name, unless it takes off as Not a Sports Journalist. So, but do you, if you really like that one, or there's some great reason behind it. I think Evan said once upon a time he wanted to be a sports journalist, but then he saw how rigged the game was, and now he's doing this instead. And in a way, you are a sports journalist now. Now you're an actual sports journalist, actually revealing what matters. Sadly, not yet in history are we to a place where enough people care about these things. We're still in a society kind of low functioning. They come across here like, what's the point of knowing this? Like, well, on one hand, you can turn a dime into $1,000. On another hand, you can understand why you shouldn't be at the baseball game. On another hand, you can understand who's doing this. It's knowledge is power. Hey, do you want to change the world? See, that's the thing. Most of them don't even have the idea in their head that they want to change the world. They're just so content with the way the world's fun, man. I like flat screens and beer and alcohol and junk food and hot dogs. And like, some people like this world. I mean, there's things to like about this world, don't get me wrong. And the world is a beautiful place. It can be. But there's a lot of things in this world that everybody should want to change, including rigged sports and ritual murder and rigged elections and propaganda news. Like, why? Think about that, you guys. People hate on me because I ask people now to support the work for $5 a month, $1 a month. But they're not, like, why don't I hate on cable news? They're charging people like $150 a month and making them watch all these shit advertisements. And not to mention all the content they put out is nothing but mind poison and misinformation. It's like, why not spend all your days attacking that instead of attacking me? And I'm asking rhetorical questions. I know the same people who are attacking me are being paid for by the same people who control the screens, control these rigged leagues. Hire these no-good bums to come antagonize. So anyway. Of course a panther's a species of cat. Do we got to take you back to last year, what they did with Chadwick Boseman? Remember how the panther... If you guys want to go back and look at something sick, you see how Panthers is 115? Houston picked up 115 in the L column against the Panthers this week, but also last year. Remember, we put it out for free last year. You didn't have to be on Patreon. I gave it to everybody for free who was watching my Twitter and my YouTube. I said, look at what they've done tonight, you guys. The Panthers are going to pick up this 115th franchise win 115 weeks after Chadwick Boseman's death, who played the Black Panther on a Thursday night football game on the eve before the new Black Panther movie comes out. And we've been showing how they sync up the Panthers and the Black Panther movie and the actual Black Panthers for years and years and years. And that's how we called Super Bowl 50 in October, why it was going to be the white Denver Broncos over the black Carolina Panthers, and why Von Miller, number 58, would be the MVP as Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl because Huey P. Newton's 58, the founder of the Black Panther Party, who started the party in the Bay Area where that Super Bowl was hosted. But yeah, last year, Panthers picked up that 115th franchise win in the column. I don't think it was all time. I think it would have been like whatever it was, home or away game. To go back and double check. But I remember they picked up the 115 on the eve of the new movie coming out, 115 weeks from Chadwick Boseman's death. And let's not forget that Chadwick Boseman died on the makeshift Jackie Robinson Day and also on Jack Kirby's birthday, who wrote the Black Panther. And then the actual Jackie Robinson was supposedly in World War II in a tank brigade called the Black Panthers. Again, you guys, that's what, it's all the same. The ritualism they do. It's obvious why Frank Howard is dead the day he is. It's obvious why Chadwick Boseman is dead the day he is. And on and on and on. It's obvious why Matthew Perry's dead the day he is. And on and on and on and on and on and on and all the other names we covered. So... all right, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. Thank you to everyone who supports the Patreon. If you guys want to join the Patreon today, the way it's set up is whatever day you join on, it becomes your annual billing date. So, thank you again. And I got to go back to work. I got to get out sports notes. We got NBA, we got MLB, we got a new NFL week to decode, and... just a warning, you guys, I am having my worst NFL season ever, but we've been dominating Thursdays. People have been multiplying big time on Thursdays. We've had 2 really good Sundays, and you could argue 3 good Sundays for the year combined, which isn't good through 8 NFL weeks. I've had a couple losing weeks this year, and I've had a lot of 50-50 weeks. The NFL's been difficult this year, but Thursday's been the week, so... anyway, the point is, learn the knowledge. It's still worth it to learn, even if we can't win as high of a percentage. It's still very important knowledge to know. You can see the rigging night in and night out. You can see the ritualism. You can see the murder. You can see how it's connected to the sports. The point is to get people on a higher level, educating on a higher level, to change the world. That's what we're really trying to do. Making some grocery money along the way is part of it. But I don't have any. I don't have any mods anymore. I got rid of all moderators because people were even complaining about that. If there's a troll in the chat who is bothering you, you can just click on their name and block, and then you won't see their comments. So essentially, that's what I did. I just made it so that everybody can moderate themselves, and it wasn't anything against any of the mods. It was just giving people less reasons to complain. So. Yeah, the Eagles and the Chiefs do play on Biden's birthday, and it'll be his 81st birthday. And you know what would be funny is if when they play, one team is 8-1 and the other is 7-2 on Biden's 81st birthday. Remember, Biden supposedly got the 81 million votes. He's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where Interstate 81 runs through it, home of The Office, which ran 201 episodes. Again, he sacrificed his son 201 days from the Pope's birthday, inaugurated in a big 201 ritual, as all presidents are, in the Jesuit stronghold. Don't forget, Georgetown simulated the election for him June 12th, 2020, 144 days before the November 3rd election. And don't forget, we told you a year in advance why Biden would become number 46 in that election, 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, as the second Catholic president when the first JFK was killed at age 46. Again, you learn this knowledge, you can go back and look at Joe Biden's son's death, his wife and daughter's death, his mom and dad's death. You can see how all of his deaths in his family are all easily and clearly connected to his political career. Joe Biden's got a lot of blood on his hands to be where he is at the top of the land. And again, to think a guy like that would give a shit about you when he'll sacrifice his wife, daughter, son, mom, and dad, and probably more. Those are the ones I'm aware of. Again, for anyone who thinks Joe Biden cares about you, you must be mentally ill. And that's just funny, too, when people come here and say that this is mental illness. No, this isn't mental illness. This is more like mental genius. And I get tired of listening to a deficient, low IQ society talk shit about me. It's like, dude, I've been practically levitating, floating over the society since I was a child. Realizing that, and again, I don't mean to sound arrogant, you guys, but when I was about 7 years old, I started to realize that I was a lot smarter than a lot of the adults that I was in the room with. I've been wondering my whole life, what's wrong with people, man? Can't see that? You don't understand that? I'm 7. How old are you, 40? You don't get it? So, haters can hate all they want. But hey, with all my gifts, all I ever did was help the world. Taught them knowledge, sacrificed. People hate for that. It's sad, man. It's sad. All you guys who hate, you could have been this person. You could have come up on a dime, turned it into $1,000 last night. Shouldn't have been a hater. Could have been you. All right, Truth Seeker. Till next time.